Hello, hello. I am just going to wait for some of you guys to get on before we get started. Hi, can you just let me know if you can hear me? Just put a yes in the box and you can see me okay. I assume you can see me okay. Oh, excellent. Hi, thank you, Miss Victoria. Thank you. So, as you know, this is my, I'm glad you can hear me. This is my weekly live Q&A specifically for high conflict co-parenting issues. I'm very well, thank you. Specifically for high conflict co-parenting issues, so everything that is involved with dealing with someone who is, whether it's narcissistic, toxic, emotionally abusive, difficult, whatever it is, there are specific challenges and unique challenges, and it's not like regular co-parenting. It actually looks more like parallel parenting. So that is what this Q&A is about. I'll just start off. I've got an exciting announcement to make. So I have and I've just launched a Coparenting Club. So basically that is where you can get support for high conflict co-parenting. So all of the challenges that you're experiencing, obviously this Q&A, I can answer your questions top line, but I can't really give you any coaching and I can't give you action steps or any follow-up. So within the Coparenting Club, that is where you get that kind of support. So the details for that are in the link in my bio. So have a look there. And obviously, I know a lot of people don't want to ask questions here on this live Q&A because it is public. My page is public so that people get awareness and can find me, but they don't feel comfortable asking their questions here for their specific situations. Obviously, we're talking about our children, so you want a safe space. So the Co-Parenting Club is actually somewhere separate. It's not on Facebook, it's not on Instagram. It's a separate private portal. Link in my bio for all the details and any questions you have. There's an email address there that you can email about. You're very welcome. And it's called the Co-Parenting Club. It's not really that kind of club, but depending what time it is for you when we have the coaching calls, you may be having a drink in hand. There's no judgment there, but for me it'll be the morning, so I likely will not have a drink. But basically that's where you get personalized, tailor-made support from me, safe place. Unfortunately, sorry men, it's just for women only. And also exclusive training. All right. My skincare. Oh, I will tell you, this is like a filter. It's not a makeup filter. It's just like a brown tinge. I really like it. I do very little with my skin. Honestly, I just use very basic things. But thank you for the compliment. All right. So I had a couple of questions, and if you have any questions regarding high conflict co-parenting, if it can just fit in one sentence, just keep it as factual and top line as you can. That would be great, and I'll be able to read it and answer it here. But I had a couple of questions that were submitted that I'm going to get to now. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, I'll get to you first, Lottie, because it will go otherwise. So he joined the reserve and his bulk parenting time is 6 weeks in the summer. He refused to state he's forfeiting his time and state she's supposed to go to his mum, not in order, no updates from his mum or him. So is your child with your ex-mother-in-law at the moment? I would definitely, and I don't know if you have any orders in place, but I would definitely get that put in the orders that if the other parent decides to forfeit their time, then you by default get first refusal, I guess, or by default your child stays with you because, that's parenting time to the grandparent is not parenting time. I mean, yes, it's okay for them to spend time with the grandparent as long as they're emotionally safe and healthy emotionally. But, and I don't know if you have parenting orders in place. If you don't have parenting orders in place, I would draw up some temporary ones, and informal interim. No, Theodore, you don't need to leave because you're male. It's just that my groups and support are women only for specific reasons. But when I talk about high conflict co-parenting, I'm a woman. Most of my clients are women. Most of the women who follow me, most of the people who follow me are women. So I just always say and address women, but the challenges are very similar. So I hope that helped, Lottie. Sorry, we have an order, but she's supposed to be with me until... Okay, I'm not sure, you probably need to get some legal advice around that in terms of how you can get some updates, Lottie. But as I said, join the Coparenting Club because I'll be able to give you more in-depth, tailor-made support there and action steps. It's very hard in this Q&A, but there should be something you can do to get some communication happening to find out what's happening with your child. Somebody's asked, my husband and I got into a fight and he told me he's going to file for divorce. Today he told me, after ignoring me all day, that I'm verbally abusive mum. Very common. They project their behaviour onto you. I know it doesn't seem like it now, but it's good news that he said he's going to file for divorce, but it's likely BS, just to get you to submit and succumb to his demands and to get you to fall in line. So he told you that he's going to file for divorce. I would personally initiate that myself. But if you're in the same home, that may be a little bit difficult. I'm not sure what your plan is. I don't know if you want to stay in the relationship or not. And he told you that you are a verbally abusive mum. Yeah, that's projection, and that's what he's doing, and that's who he is, and that will continue. They project their behaviour onto others, and you are the nearest person, and in his eyes you're the abuser, and they always come out to be the victim. Okay, so you might want to reevaluate your life and where you want that to go, and how you want the children to or what you want your children to experience in terms of their parents and your parenting and his parenting. I hope that kind of makes sense. But go to the link in my bio for the Coparenting Club, because I'll be able to give you some action steps and some more involved advice for your specific situation, okay? And at the moment, I'm also offering a huge discount because this is just launching and the first call is starting next week. So you don't want to miss out on that. Yes, Amanda, they don't like anything we say or do, so I wouldn't see that as out of the ordinary that he didn't like how you were speaking to your daughter. He doesn't own your daughter. Nobody owns your daughter. So again, I don't know what your decisions are or whether you want to stay in that situation. But children learn from their first teachers. You and their father are their first teacher, so it depends on what kind of influence you want to have in their life and what kind of influence you want or would ideally like him to have. If they see this dynamic, it's kind of your great parenting is going to be offset by his shitty parenting, basically. So I say you've got some decisions to make. You're very welcome, Lottie. And the thing is, you're talking about Amanda, your husband ignoring you. They implement the silent treatment. They all ignore you because that is punishment for not doing or saying what they want you to do. You're not a puppet and you're not a toy, but as soon as you fall out of line, and this applies to their children as well, they will ignore you until you submit and comply. Okay? You've learned for the first time narcissistic projection is real. If it wasn't for therapy and my narc husband, who is dragging me through the divorce, says the worst things. Yes, I say this to my clients. Sometimes it's hard to reconcile whether they are playing dumb or whether they know fully what they're doing and they just keep pushing. They know, and in their minds, you are the bad guy. You will always be the bad guy and they will always be the victim, because that's how they see the world. Okay, and they are convinced of that, and they can convince other people of that. That's why it is so important to be able to communicate your situation to people, especially those who are supposed to be advocating for you, the ones who are supposed to be supporting you or defending you, or you know, if your children have appointments at school and your high conflict ex is trying to throw you under the bus, you're going to need the right language to explain the situation without going into detail. Quite often it's tempting to give all the details of how awful this person is and has been, and nobody's really going to believe it because they don't see it, and also it sounds like something from the movie, so you're going to have to find a way to strip back all that detail and just give the facts and top lines so people get an idea of, okay, I understand you're dealing with somebody who is XYZ. I hope that kind of answered your question, KP. Silent treatment is a form of manipulative abuse. Yep. Amanda, you're very welcome. Yes, Amanda, he ignored you and then flipped out and now you feel guilty. Yeah, that was exactly the goal that he wanted to achieve, and it's likely not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last. As long as you're under the same roof, this will continue unless you want to become, for want of a better word, his puppet. Okay? That's what you're going to be met with. I do have the Co-Parenting Club. If you're still in the relationship and living in the same home, it's probably not suitable for you because it's going to be very difficult for you to come on the calls and get the support if he's breathing down your neck or looking at what you're doing or keeping tabs on you. Okay, so I feel that you just need to kind of get some kind of plan in place and make some decisions about how you want your life to be going forward. Okay. Amanda, when the show Gaslit came out, he actually mocked me and said, look, it's you on a show. Yeah, they do that. They tell you that you're this bad person, and then you go Googling and looking or speaking to your therapist about it and find out that it's not you, but it's actually them describing themselves. So that's evidence that they know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. They just don't want you to know. They don't want you to be aware of that. Okay, so I've got a question here, and it's for someone's sister. The partner's always been aggressive and was very upset when she became pregnant with their son. He's accepted it since and is a decent parent. However, the responsibility has always been pinned more on my sister. But now that they are going through a separation, he's going out of his way to spend time with their son. It almost seems like he's trying to prove something. My sister fears he will make it difficult to co-parent once they actually separate. So, this question, this is from Dolce, I think. You said that he is a decent parent. Okay, one thing to get very clear is a decent parent, I assume you mean he feeds, clothes, bathes, and spends money on the child. That is not a decent parent. That is not a good parent. If this person has been abusive and you're asking me a question, this person is not a decent person by default. Okay, they're doing all the basics, but that is not a decent parent. I just want to clear that up. And your sister fears that he'll make it difficult to co-parent once they actually separate. Yes, if she has that fear and you're asking me the question, I say this to everybody: you don't find my page. Your page is like mine if everything's rosy and if there wasn't a problem. So he likely will. So your sister needs to get prepared for what is to come, because I say this to everybody: whatever you think they're going to say or do, multiply that by 1,000, because this is my experience for the many people and women specifically I've worked with. The outcome is always, and not to scare you obviously, but whatever you think they're capable of, multiply that by 1,000. So being prepared for what is to come is a better place to be and a better position to be in when you are more proactive rather than reactive and trying to pick up the pieces after the fact, after the damage is done. Okay, so that was that answer to that question. And Dolce, if your sister is still with this person, then, or once she separates, she can join the Co-Parenting Club to get support for next steps, because the beauty of it is there are people at different stages of the journey. So she'll be able to see, not just from me, but learn from others who are navigating this and maybe a bit further along. So she can see what's to come and prepare for that, because, there's nothing better than being prepared for what is to come. Nobody can prepare you better than people who have walked the path before you. Okay, Lottie, yes, they do it, and when they act nice, brace yourself. Yes, unfortunately, when they're nice, there is an agenda, a bigger agenda. Something is brewing, and they're always up to something. So you need to prepare and energize yourself for that onslaught. Every court hearing, expect the unexpected. I always say, hope for the best and prepare for the worst, because a lot of people seem to be stunned and surprised because they didn't know or see this coming. And it really is, if you think they're going to do this thing, assume they're going to do this thing. Because if, I think a lot of people underestimate the fact that, oh, surely they will do what's best for all the children. No, surely they will not. That is actually the opposite. Okay. And I have one other question. The long and short of it is, alcoholic husband, she's got a restraining order, but he talks to the children 2 to 3 times a week on the phone, and he's been saying that he loves mummy and mummy won't talk to me, and I can come home whenever she says she's the boss. So this person who's asked the question says, I'm not sure how to state or go about boundaries if I can't talk to him, and how can I communicate he is affecting the children emotionally, affecting the children's emotional well-being and pegging them against me. I also hate being the bad guy all the time. Now I have to tell him all of these things. Okay, so this is quite a complex question. Sylvia Perez, join the Coparenting Club. I can give you some coaching, personalized and tailor-made support on that, and action steps and follow-up, because when you set these boundaries and you say what you need to say to this person, there will be comeback and follow-up. So you're going to have to be prepared and ready for that. The short answer is, he's speaking to them 2 or 3 times a week and saying those things because, yes, to make you out to be the bad guy, and it's up to mummy and I want to come home. Yes, but obviously the children, and I don't know the ages of them, they don't know the details of why there is a restraining order in place, or maybe they're not even aware, but there are other things that you can't communicate to them because they are maybe too young, and you can't explain. So yes, some boundaries need to be set with him, but know that he likely will not listen because he is getting the outcome that he is working towards in terms of trying to turn your children against you. So you know your children best. There's a lot more I need to say on this, but protecting your children despite what the other parent says or does is where you need to get to. That's the place you need to get to. And you hate being the bad guy all the time. You're not actually the bad guy. He's just trying to paint you as the bad guy, and that's what they notoriously do. He's the victim, you are the abuser. So it's gaining that strength within yourself and having the right wording and the right phrasing to your children and also him, so that he is kept on the outside of your home and not inside your peace, and doesn't penetrate that despite his efforts. So I hope that kind of helps, Sylvia. So again, I've launched the Co-Parenting Club. That's where you can get tailor-made personalized support from me. It's heavily discounted at the moment because it's just launching. The first call is next week, early next week. All of the details are in the link to my bio. And there you'll get specific training exclusive just for members. It's not on Facebook, it's not on Instagram. I know a lot of people want to ask questions, but don't, because my page is public. So this is a private place, private portal where you have all the support that you need for high conflict co-parenting, and it's very affordable. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I think there were a couple of other questions, but I can't find them now, unfortunately. But I do remember one person was talking about what do you do when the other parent tries to alienate you from the children. So, as you know, parental alienation is an old term, but it's more widely known as post-separation abuse. So this is where your high conflict ex will abuse you after the fact and continue to abuse you, but through the children, and try and alienate you and cause a divide and break the bond between you and your child. A lot more to say on this that I can go into more detail, and some action steps and some coaching. But I don't know the age of the child, and I can't remember who asked the question, I'm sorry. but I'll try and dig that out. But it depends on the age of the child, but you need some age-appropriate language to explain the situation, but in a way that is understandable for a child without going into detail, and in a way that they feel supported, and it kind of blows what the other parent is saying out of the water. It makes it impossible for it to be believable to your child. Okay? And I'm really sorry I can't find those other 2 questions, but that's what I remember for now. If there are no other questions, I'll just give you a minute if you have any other questions. Otherwise, I will see you over on the Coparenting Club, drinks or not, depends what time it is for you, and we have the coaching calls. Link is in my bio, and if there are no other questions, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.